Hey everybody, welcome back to RPG Imaginings. It's been a while since I've done a video, but I just wanted to get in here and update you on some of the things that happened when DJ and I went to Ghengis Khan in February, the third week of February. So it's been a little bit of time, but I wanted to do the update for it. And the focus of this video is mostly for what my pickups were at Ghengis Khan. The only thing that won't be shown in this video, I did post it on social media though, is that I did pick up a hard copy of Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Static, which that adventure by Brian Holland is so awesome that I knew that I wanted it in hardcover. So this focus is more on sort of the other things that I picked up at the con, as well as some of the fun signatures and freebies that I got at the con. And yeah, so you may or may not recognize the Tatters the Book in front of you right here. This is a coverless copy of original D&D Supplement 1 Greyhawk. And it doesn't have the cover. This is part of a collection that DJ bought for really cheap years and years and years ago at a game store. And he has a better quality copy of this in that collection. And so he gifted me this more beat up version of it so that I can, actually feel what the paper was like for the original role-playing books that existed out there. So at some point somebody had masking taped the cover. I added the staple here, and I know that some of you in the audience are just gasping with rage that I would staple the pages together, but I just didn't want to lose it. And I'm not really interested in these things, folks, for collectability purposes. I mostly want to read them. And so it's more important to me that I keep the pages intact. And you can see from this first major text page that this is organized in the same order that the books are organized in the original Dungeons and Dragons books, the 3 books that came in the original box set. Now you notice here that this is marked 1st of February, 1975. So this is the first set of supplementary materials that came out. And this is particularly special for this con because DJ and I got to play with Luke Gygax, Gary Gygax's youngest son. And Luke Gygax is a really good guy. He is smart and empathetic. He rose to the rank, I want to say, of lieutenant colonel in the, gosh, what do I want to say here? Army? If I'm wrong, tell me that I'm wrong. Okay. I can't remember exactly what service that he was in, but Luke was there from the very beginning, and he's playtested a lot of this stuff from the time that he was just a little kid. I think he started sitting at the table with his dad and his brother and his sisters when he was like 4 or 5. Okay, so yeah, here it is. This is rules revisions for OD&D, really the first official rules revisions other than anything that was published in official zines. So if we look at the back here, there's references to the zine strategic review, and numbers 1, number 2, number 3 has official D&D material in that. So this may not be the first revisions to the game. I would say that those articles in strategic review were likely the first official revisions to the game, because TSR was known that anything that they published anywhere was official, including in zines. And so yeah, so these are just all revisions for the classes. Some fun were-rat art there. A black pudding attacking a fighting man, as they were called early on in original Dungeons and Dragons. Attacks and damage by monster type. So a lot of this was just tables that made it easier to run the game. Table for spells, all the spells that were originally present. These are new spells, I believe, or clarifications to old one. Okay, so that's cool. And then we have monsters and treasure, a added monster reference table for newer monsters, including things like bugbears and tritons, lizard men, lycanthropes, beholders. And of course, this was somebody's old book. This is the old book of, let's see, I think their name appears at somewhere in here, but they had, made little notes. And I love this because, you know what? Make the game your own. If you don't like the way that the table is, alter the table. Okay, we've had this modern scourge of people thinking that, like, materials published for role-playing games are unalterable. And it's just batty. It's foolish. Okay, folks, you can do whatever you want in your role-playing games. Oh, a little fun nudity there. We'll see if this gets demonetized. I doubt it. I'm not big enough to get demonetized. I could be wrong. Okay. And so, yeah, this is, and then here we have the owner of this book made their own magic item, the Magical Fogger, a small cube which, when activated, emits a magical fog. This fog stops all attempts to see within the coverage of the fog by magical means. The fog covers an area 6 by 6. The person using it must know the word of command which starts it. The cube will fog for 12 hours, then must recharge for 12 hours. The device is not portable when in use. The fog will stop any astral, wizard's eye, projected image, phase door, crystal ball, clear audience, clairvoyance, and will resist even limited wishes and wishes 40% of the time. The only thing that can see through the mist magically is a palantiri. And so we were getting a little bit of J.R.R. Tolkien in here as well. Yeah, and so here it is. This is the first supplement for the original D&D game, Greyhawk. And so thanks for DJ for this little gift. I really appreciate it. Let's move on because I have a lot of things to show you. Now, I had gifts for DJ as well. And so I bought this journal, one for each of us. I got this copper colored journal and he got a bronze colored journal. And they came with extra paper. But, I took a ton of notes over the course of this con. This is all just con notes, okay, from games that I participated in. And I mean, we participated in some really cool games. And so we started out with a Luke Gygax game, Heart of Shantufi, which I'll show you the supplement for that here in a little bit. But I gave the details, of this is how I like to take notes at a role-playing table. I write down the names of all the characters and the names of all the people playing them so that, people like to have their characters and themselves called by their actual name. I know this is an educator, so I basically do what I need to do in order to do a good job on this. And then I just take notes about what happens during the game and key clues or NPCs that we're working on. Sometimes what happens in combat, like if I roll a lot of damage on something or what spells I use. In this game, I just played a fighter, which rarely, if ever, I do at the table. And then this just continues on through all the games that we played. Here's our Rogue D&D that we played with Luke Gygax. We were lucky enough to play 2 games with Luke. And if you're wondering how do you play games with game designers and luminaries like Luke Gygax, well, if you go to a con and you want, personalized time with a special guest, you got to pay for it. Which, should it be that way? No. Is it that way? Yeah, it is. And I don't blame them at all for doing this because, somebody's going to go to a con and run games. You got to make it worth their while. And so, to sit on a game with Luke, it's $50, which I know is way out of most people's price ranges. That's the cost of a book. But there are huge benefits that come from gaming with luminaries because you're much more likely to get understanding players, experienced players at the table who want everybody to have fun. And we have found that is the huge benefit of paying the extra money for these con games. It was special for me because the Heart of Shantufi was the second adventure in a 3-adventure series. So you'll notice that this is marked OS2. I didn't know if I had a copy of this, and so I bought this. And it turns out I did have a copy of this, but what my first copy doesn't have is Luke Gygax's signature to Michael. It was electrifying. Oh, and I know. Oh, so he wrote that because I played a fighter who was like a War Duke like character that also had like electrification magic, and so I got a nice little personalized version of Luke's second adventure, and the third adventure is currently being kickstarted. Luke's adventures are well designed. Luke is a great GM, as you would hope, with somebody who has a lot of experience in the hobby. But I also just want to point out that he is a very generous GM. And he's very open to variation at his table. And, folks, you could have somebody who's an experienced role player, and they could be a crappy GM, or they could be like a cruel GM who is very adversarial. And I'm not saying that Luke went easy on us, because he definitely didn't. Okay. We got rocked in our very first encounter. And in this game, we actually ran out of time, and that wasn't Luke's fault. That was more just like other factors. But the other cool bucket list thing that I can say from our time at Ghengis Khan is that I have been killed by a Gygax, and that happened in our second game, that rogue game. It was all rogues with different variations on the rogues, 5th edition. And Luke said that he liked my playing of my rogue character so much that he granted me this little medallion from Gary Con 12, March 26th through 29th, 2022. And so we have nice art on that side. And then on the back side, we have Gary Con 11, March 7th through 10th, 2019. And so, yeah, this was a cool little prize that I got for doing a great job role-playing my character. And, I mean, this is the second year in a row that I've been able to play at Luke's table at Ghengis Khan. And it's just an awesome experience. So I got killed mighty fierce in the rogue game. Because we were on a really interesting trap that was a pole that was suspended over shark-infested waters. And every time we got a riddle wrong, the pole spun on its long axis, making it very, very difficult to hang on to. And most of us perished that way, that we ended up in the sharks at the end. And so that was awesome because, hey, I've been killed by a Gygax at a table, and that is a bucket list thing that everybody wants to check off. Okay? What else did we have there? Well, I also got to play Pendragon with David Larkin, the primary author for modern Pendragon. And Pendragon is going to be having a core rule book coming out really soon. This is the character that I played for our little playtest that we did. We playtested an adventure, a scenario that could appear in a future Chaosium product, and so you can watch that out, or you can watch for that, I should say. So I played Dame Tamura, and we even had a winter cycle in this game where we were able to do some improvements to either skills or traits. And this is a really great scenario because DJ had never, or it had been, at least it had been a long time since DJ had played Pendragon, or maybe DJ has never played Pendragon before. I don't know which it is. But of course, David did a spectacular job of introducing the system to us step by step, and it was a rockin' fun time. And it was a small table. We only had 3 people at the table. Oh, here it is. Here's my rogue. I was a rogue cleric in Gygax's game. And I was Vothug the Clever. And I speak with a Russian accent because I thought it was amusing. And so did Luke. Next, just sorting through everything here. Here's my character for Heart of Shentufi. The first game that we played, I was just a fighter who had like some special kit. We also played a lot of Savage Worlds, which is what Genghis Khan largely is about. There's a huge Savage Worlds community around Denver. But what I wanted to show you that was in this folder is that I brought my Book 2 copy of Pendragon from the starter set with me. And For Glory and King Arthur, signed by David Larkins. And so that was awesome. Yeah, we had a great time at that table. So there's another signed piece that I had that I wanted to showcase for everybody. And then DJ and I were playing an Alien RPG game as well. It was okay. What I think actually happened there is that the GM had a very strong structure, but was not a very good adapter. And so the game essentially started out as Cyberpunk and rapidly switched to Alien about 4/10 of the way through, which is fine. We had a good time. But there was just a little bit of a split there. Anyway, while I was sitting at that table, I saw that people were playing Marvel Multiverse role-playing game one table over. And I said to myself, that guy who's running them, he's like really enthusiastic and a really good GM. And it kind of looks like him. Could that be Matt Forbeck? And so as the guy was leaving the table, me being the action-oriented educator that I am, I leaped up from our table and pulled out my Marvel Multiverse role-playing game because I knew Matt was going to be at the con. And I said, hey, are you Matt Forbeck? And he's like, yes, I am. And so I got Matt Forbeck to write me a nice little note and signature on my Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, Excelsior, to Michael. Thank you. I really appreciate this, Matt, and you've done a really good job with the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game so far. Matt's a real passionate gamer. And he's a super nice guy too. And so, follow him on social media. He's definitely worth a follow. What else did we get at the con? Well, there's some Gygax stuff that I forgot to show you. This is marked Gary Con 14, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, Dungeoneer's Survival Quill. And the idea is that Luke gives these out to his players, and it has everything that you would need to be an accomplished Dungeoneer. So there's a level if you're worried about switching levels in the dungeon. There's a pen for writing down clues. There's a ruler if you need to determine the distance between things. There's a little pointing touching device if you need to test a trap. And so he goes through a little thing, where he hands these out to his players as a fun little way to think about dungeon survival. So that's a cool little addition. Since Genghis Khan is very Savage Worlds oriented, and any of you who know Savage Worlds as a system know that Savage Worlds operates off of bennies, which are little tokens that you can use in the game to reroll rolls. And so we were VIGs because we paid for higher quality badges at Genghis Khan, which got us access to some of the games that I'm talking about here. And so they always do poker chips as bennies. And one of the big sponsors of Genghis and Tacticon is Gamer Girl Games. So we have a cool Benny / token here. And then if you bought a drink on on Friday night, you got another Genghis Khan token, a Benny for use in whatever game you want to use. So, I love these little collectibles. It helps to personalize the experience, and it's good memories for those times. Dealer Hall wasn't as impressive this time around, but there was one purchase that I found right at the end in the Dealer Hall, and that is I got myself a 3D printed dice tower for a cheap price. Okay, this was $15. So this is just like, a couple operation and their kids were there, and they have a really nice high resolution 3D printer, so they print stuff for cons and take them to cons, and that this price can't be much more than the cost of materials. I don't think that their profit on this is crazy huge, but it has this little cap at the top. The only downside of it, one more, sorry, my bad. Oh, here's 2023 Genghis Khan dice. I got some 2024 Genghis Khan dice that were a little smaller as well. Well, I'm going to try to find some other dice here that we can use. If I don't completely collapse the table here. I got a lot of stuff stacked on top of each other here. Sorry about the camera shake. So here's some dice. I don't know where these dice came from. You know how there's like standard dice and then a little larger than standard dice? Well, the only downside of this tower is that there is a possibility that things can get stuck in it. So, with this D6 not getting stuck, that's good. D12 doesn't get stuck. Okay, so this dice set is small enough that it won't get stuck on the way down. But not every dice set works well with this tower, and so I'm happy with the look of it, and I'm happy with the amount of money that I spent on it. I am a little concerned with some of the larger dice sets that I have. It just isn't going to work. And then you know what the solution is. You know what the solution is, right, folks? You just roll on a table. It's not that big a deal. Okay? Here, this is the dice set that I got for free being a VIG member at Genghis Khan. And let's see if these dice are proportioned differently and will get stuck. Okay, so D8 works just fine. Okay, D20. Okay, nice. D6. Yep, see, that D6 is just a little is either just like a fraction of a millimeter too big. Yeah, I think that this D6 might actually be a hair, it's a hair bigger than this D6. And so if you get dice that are just a little too big, like let's say we're playing Call of Cthulhu here, green on black is a nice combo for Call of Cthulhu, although these are very much, more sci-fi style dice. But, okay, so the D10s did okay, but some of these are liable to get stuck, and I've found that it is the D6 that is the one that is liable to get stuck. And so if you have a D6 that's just a little too big, it's not going to go. I mean, obviously, if you have oversized dice, it's not going to go at all. But I'm super glad that I got this, because this was something that was on my list to get, and it was very reasonably priced, and so now I have a decent looking and decent playing dice tower, and so I'm really happy about that. And so there you go, folks. That's what happened at Genghis Khan in Denver in mid to late February, and I'm happy to show you all the fun. Whoops, more camera shake, my bad. I'm happy to showcase for you all the fun stuff and the gifts we exchanged and the tables that we played at and other stuff like that. And so thanks for watching RPG Imaginings, everybody. I've been reading a lot of role-playing books lately that I'm really excited to share with all of you. My plan this year is to churn out a top Splat Books of all time series. And the only reason why I haven't done this is because I've really been doing some deep investigation into it, and I want them to be really high-quality videos. And so note that those are forthcoming. Okay? Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.